Ellis Island opens for business on this day, January 1st. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is January 1st, 2024. We made it another year. It is the first day of the year. You got 365 days left in 2024. It is your first Monday in your first week of this year. It's the 12th day of winter. Welcome. And you got 78 days until spring. Today is National Hangover Day, which, if you know anything about New Year's, it's very fitting. I just don't do New Year's like I used to. You know, my 20s and maybe even in my early 30s, friends would go out. And then, I don't know, somewhere around 34, 35, we were just like, it's not worth it. It's just a pain. Every place is crowded. They double the price of everything. Now that I'm older, I'm happier to watch my granddaughter while my kids go out. All right, let's see what else happened on January 1st. 1776, George Washington hoists the first United States flag, the Grand Union flag, at Prospect Hill. 1885, 25 nations adopt Sanford Fleming's proposal for standard time, also known as time zones. 1892, Ellis Island begins processing immigrants into the United States. Ellis Island is located in the upper New York Bay, and it's an iconic symbol of American immigration history. For over 6 decades, it served as the primary entry point for millions of immigrants seeking a better life in the United States. For all its good and its bad, Ellis Island served as a starting point for a dream. Before Ellis Island became synonymous with immigration, it was known by various names, including Oyster Island and Gibbet Island, due to its early use of oyster farming and gibbeting. Okay, if you don't know what gibbeting is, it's kind of dark, so prepare yourself. Gibbeting is the use of a gallows-type structure for which dead or dying bodies of criminals were hung for public display to stop others from doing the same crimes. Basically, a see what happens when you do that type of learning moment. But in 1808, Samuel Ellis purchased the island, and it was subsequently named Ellis Island in his honor. It wasn't until the late 19th century that Ellis Island would gain its lasting fame. In 1892, the federal government opened up the first immigration station on Ellis Island, replacing the previous processing center at Castle Garden in Lower Manhattan. The newly structured facility was designed to handle the increasing number of immigrants arriving to the United States, primarily from Europe. The first immigrant to pass through Ellis Island was Annie Moore, a young Irish girl, on January 1st, 1892. Upon arrival, immigrants underwent medical examinations and interviews to determine their eligibility for entry into the United States. Now, if let's say you had some kind of disease or there was something wrong with you and they deemed you not good for the United States, they put you back on the same boat you came in. You were back across the water. Ellis Island played a pivotal role during the peak years of immigration, roughly from late 19th century to the early 20th century. During this period, the United States witnessed several waves of immigrants, including Irish, Italian, Jewish, Eastern European, and others fleeing poverty, persecution, and political turmoil in their home countries. Ellis Island processed millions of immigrants during these waves, reaching a zenith in the early 1900s when they processed more than 1 million immigrants every single year. Ellis Island was far from a luxurious place to live. Immigrants endured long lines, crowded dormitories, and strict regulations. However, it was a necessary step towards a better future for many of them, so, they lived with it, and they didn't really complain too much. I'm sure they did, but it's not like they had big riots or anything like that. For some, the island was a brief stopover before they continued their journey on to other parts of the country, while others settled in New York City and its surrounding areas. Ellis Island continued to operate as an immigration station until 1954, after which it fell into disrepair. In 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed a proclamation designating Ellis Island as part of the Statue of Liberty National Monument, leading to its restoration. In 1990, the Ellis Island National Museum of Immigration opened its doors to the public, offering visitors a chance to learn about the immigration experience and the historical significance to the island. To this day, Ellis Island stands as a symbol of American diversity, resilience, and the pursuit of the American dream. It served as the gateway to the New World for millions of immigrants, leaving an indelible mark on the culture and historical fabric of the United States. I started reading about Ellis Island back when I was in high school, and it was because of a comedian. It might have been Billy Crystal, but I know it was one of the older comedians, said that his grandfather really didn't like immigrants, even though he came through Ellis Island at age 17. The joke was, it's like he got his paperwork stamped, turned around, looked at all the people behind him and said, "Not in my neighborhood." 1984, the original American telephone and telegraph company is divested into 22 Bell System companies as a result of a settlement of the 1974 United States Department of Justice antitrust suit against AT&T. Back in the day, AT&T was a horrible company. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people say they are to this day. They just did shady stuff. They had monopoly on wherever you lived. You had to use AT&T or Bell, whatever it was called at the time. They did things like you had to use one of their phones, so you had to buy a phone from them. You couldn't use another company's, and then you had to buy it, and then they would charge you to use it every single month. It was a little part of your bill. Long distance was outrageously expensive, if any of you remember that. I'm sure most of you remember that. Not everyone had a cell phone at the time with free long distance. You had to plan calling relatives to make sure other people that might want to talk to them are there when you called so you can all talk for a minute or two. They did all kinds of shady stuff, and the government just said enough's enough and broke them up. Now, I mean, not many people have home phones anymore. 1994, North American Free Trade Agreement comes into effect, more commonly known as NAFTA. A lot of people think this was the worst thing that ever happened in the United States. It was supposed to open up trade between all the different countries and make it easier. Well, it did make some things easier, like the ability for companies to ship manufacturing jobs overseas. Premiered on January 1st, 2017, The Mick. This was a pretty good show. Sadly, they canceled it.
All right, you gotta cool it with the makeup already, honestly.
I haven't seen my sister in years. I'm just trying to make a good impression.
Yeah, well, you're gonna spook her.
I need the cash, okay? I might have to sell my hair.
After her sister flees the country, a hard-partying woman must take care of her niece and nephew. The show was created by the same people that created It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Well, they were writers, but they created this show. Caitlin Olsen, a local girl here from Portland, starred in the show and was also an executive producer on the series. It was canceled after 2 seasons, and I think that's a travesty. It was funny. It was, a little emotional. It was a good show. I think it's on Netflix now. If you get a chance, watch it. I promise you, towards the end, you'll be a little depressed there was only 2 seasons. Born on January 1st, 1752, Betsy Ross. Yeah, the lady that sewed the flag. They gave her $35 for sewing the American flag. I also heard she made about $300 American, but it was paid in pounds. There's another thing that says she was paid 14 pounds, which I think pounds to sterling pounds to American dollars, that would be about $3,600 in today. Either way, she made the flag. She should have had enough to retire just for doing that. She was born in New Jersey, and she lived to 1836. She died 29 days after her birthday at the age of 84. Died on January 1st, 2015, we lost Donna Douglas. If you don't know who she is, she played Ellie Mae Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies. In later life, she became a real estate agent and a gospel singer. She was also an inspirational speaker and wrote a couple books. She was married twice. Her second marriage ended in divorce in 1980, and she decided that was enough getting married. Later on in life, she had a couple lawsuits. She had written a book with a partner called Sister in the Closet, and they felt Walt Disney Company stole the premise of that book and created the Whoopi Goldberg, Bette Midler movie, Sister Act. They lost the case. Right before they were about to go to trial, they offered $1 million to settle the case. They declined the offer and then didn't get anything. In 2011, she sued Mattel because they produced a Barbie doll, sort of in her likeness, but it was classic TV collection, and the suit alleges the packing for the Ellie Mae Barbie doll featured a photo of her, which meant CBS and Mattel owed her some money. She pointed out in her contract from all those years back that she had to get approval for anything made in her likeness. She was seeking $75,000. They settled out of court. Donna Douglas died at Baton Rouge General Hospital at age 82 on January 1st, 2015 from pancreatic cancer. In 2005, she returned to her home area, I guess you could say, which is East Baton Rouge Parish, Louisiana. That's where she is interned. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.